Immigration asylum applications for undocumented individuals in the United States. Asylum is a form of protection granted to people who meet the definition of a refugee, someone who is unable or unwilling to return to their home country because of a well-founded fear of persecution based on race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group, or political opinion. The biggest questions I get every day are, who is eligible? Undocumented people can apply for asylum regardless of how they enter the United States, including crossing the border without authorization or overstaying a visa. The person seeking asylum must demonstrate a credible fear of persecution if returned to their home country. The second question I get is, what is the filing process? Asylum must generally be applied for within 1 year of entering the U.S., unless an exception applies, including changes in circumstances, extraordinary conditions such as serious illness, or even lack of legal representation. The asylum application begins with the filing of what is known as an application for asylum and withholding of removal with the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, or, in some cases, with an immigration judge if the person is in removal proceedings. It is very important in today's world to have a proven professional to help you with this app. Our team at Syndicate Legal Services is trained and has real-world experience in applying for asylum for undocumented people around the world, and each of our union subscription legal plans includes immigration legal services, and that includes asylum filing. That said, what are the types of asylum? First is affirmative asylum, which is for those who are not in removal proceedings and have applied for asylum with the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. The second type is defensive asylum, which is for those in removal proceedings and have filed their asylum application with an immigration judge. Obviously, affirmative asylum is best, so if you are in the United States undocumented today, it is important to file your asylum application. What type of work authorization is available to those who have applied for asylum? Asylum seekers can apply for work authorization after 150 days from the filing of their asylum application, as long as the case is pending and not delayed by the applicant. What are the challenges of applying for asylum? First, undocumented people face barriers such as lack of legal representation and understanding of the complex paperwork required even to apply for asylum. Syndicate Subscription Legal Services has individual and family legal plans for as little as $25 per month, and no individual and family legal services plan costs more than $90 per month, and all Syndicate Subscription Legal Services plans include immigration services, and all of those immigration services include asylum applications. The second challenge today is the possibility of detention while an asylum case is being processed. Although the news is full of undocumented people being detained by federal agents, the reality is that detention often only happens if the undocumented person is already in removal proceedings, has not applied for asylum at all, or is considered a flight risk or a public safety issue. In the case of undocumented people detained by federal agents, they undergo a credible fear interview to determine if they have a legitimate basis for asylum. If approved, they can continue their asylum case, but they can remain in detention depending on ICE's discretion or the availability of release options such as parole or bond. It is for this reason that I strongly recommend anyone undocumented in the United States to call Syndicate Subscription Legal Services today and begin an asylum application before being detained by federal agents, because you could be in immigration enforcement custody until your asylum case is heard before an immigration judge. For those who have been detained by the immigration agency, there are limited release options. First, the detained asylum seeker can apply for parole. In this case, the Immigration Service may grant parole, allowing temporary release while the case is pending, especially if the person does not pose a flight risk or danger. The second option is a bonus. Here, an immigration judge can set a bond, which is a minimum of $1,500, if granted, that the individual can afford to pay for release. The latter is known as alternative to detention. In this case, someone may be discharged under supervision, such as ankle monitors or checks. For all the reasons detailed here, I encourage all undocumented people who are considering applying for asylum in the United States to contact Syndicate Subscription Legal Plans and explore the best legal plan option for you and your family.